Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today for another Twilight Zone video in my Twilight Zone ranking series where I rank every episode of the original Twilight Zone from my least favorite to my favorite. Today I'm going to be talking about number 84, No Time Like the Past, written by Rod Serling and directed by Justus Addiss. This is a season 4 episode, an hour-long episode, and as always there will be spoilers. So No Time Like the Past is an episode that overall I like, but it's a hard episode for me to rate, because there's basically two halves to the episode that almost feel like two different episodes. And while I think the first half is only okay, I really enjoyed the second half of this episode. So the main plot of this one is there's a man named Paul, and he along with his friend are going to use a time machine to send Paul into the past where he's going to try and change events from history. Dana Andrews is really strong in the lead role of Paul, in my opinion. He was always a solid actor, and he does a great job here and really carries a lot of this episode, in my opinion. So this episode starts in the first half, obviously, in the lesser half, in my opinion, where Paul is talking with his friend Harvey about going back in time, and eventually he does. He basically goes to 3 different scenes or scenarios, however you want to say it. He goes to Hiroshima and Berlin, and then aboard a ship called the Lusitania, and in each scene he tries to stop negative events from happening, but ultimately fails. Now, I really thought that these scenes were actually fairly well done, but because Paul really doesn't change anything, and this really doesn't even relate that much to the second half of the episode, I just found it almost kind of like filling time waiting to get to the second half of the episode, but it's still not bad. So at this point, Paul comes to the conclusion that he cannot change the past. So he decides he's going to take a different approach, and we kind of transition to the second half of the episode, where he goes to this place called Homeville in 1881, and Paul just wants to kind of get away from it all, I guess you could say. So at this point, Paul also meets a teacher named Abigail, and you can see instantly that they have some interest in each other, and the character of Abigail is well played by Patricia Breslin. I thought she did a solid job. He also finds out that the president of the time is going to be shot, but he knows he can't really do anything about it because of what happened before when he tried to alter other events. So eventually he bonds with this teacher Abigail even more after a dinner conversation where Paul tells off kind of a know-it-all, I guess you would say, in one of the better scenes of the episode. I enjoyed the dinner scene quite a bit. So Paul keeps getting attached to this town and this lady Abigail more and more when he finds out that the school is going to burn, hurting some kids. So now Paul's conflicted. He knows every time he's tried to change the past before it hasn't worked, but because he's so sentimental about all this, he tries to change things anyway, and of course it doesn't work again, and tragically the same thing happens anyway with the school. So then in a great scene, Paul comes to the realization. He tells Abigail that what's in the past must stay in the past, and we know he has to leave. He can't stay because he realizes that he'll just be tempted to change more and more things and that it will never work out. So in the end, Paul decides to go back to his own time and try and make a positive impact on the future, which is actually a message I really like. And, I've watched this episode before, but I gotta say, while the first half of this episode, like I said, was functional and done fairly well, but only kind of okay from a dramatic level, I really got into the second part of the episode this time, and I thought Dana Andrews' performance was really great. So I love the final speech. I actually really love the second half of the episode, and I really was invested in Paul's character. But the first half of the episode feels like it's kind of there and just filling time for an hour-long format. So it's a tough episode for me to rate, but that's why when I balance it out, it comes in at number 84 on the list. Feel free to let me know if you liked No Time Like the Past or not. Thanks for your support, and thanks for watching.